are launch pads, the basic journey from ICO to IDO, different types of launch pads, and some other basics that you need to know in crypto. So without further ado, let's get started with a basic introduction of what are launch pads. We've got Trading Star with us today, Crypto Wally, Vipul. Who would like to start out?
Yeah, so basically, can you repeat the question? I think we had some network issue.
Oh, most certainly. What are launch pads?
So launch pads, like the IDO launch pads particularly, if I say that it's a fundraising platform, probably like many, like in normal startups, people like either do fundraising through like VCs or do fundraising through like from Kickstarter or something you might have heard of. So in general, crypto projects usually used to get like fundraising through normal people, normal investors, VCs, and seed investors. So in current scenario, the launchpad is the like a decentralized medium or sometimes centralized. Launchpad also have like that's a lot in nature, but probably a good method of somewhat securing the security side of investors. So Launchpad is currently like a fundraising platform for the projects who wants to have like crypto projects in general, crypto based projects. Uh, Irrespective of the sector, maybe it can be a gaming project, maybe it can be a new web project, maybe it can be something similar into anything. Basically, it has to have some crypto economics in their token or something in order to get their fundraise through Launchpad.
If I say something about the IDO launchpads, then it is basically we can consider it as a launch platform. I mean, which helps to incubate projects or to get that projects in the market quite easily to reach the end user. I mean, or the traders. Why? Because I mean, it is the most effective way today to get, I mean, launch any token or cryptocurrency in the market. Because what happens that any decentralized exchange like Binance or KuCoin, which are on the top tier exchanges, they will not accept any coin or token very easily most of the time. I know that KuCoin or MEXC or Get.io is doing a great job in terms of initial launching of the tokens. So sometimes it may happen, but the top tier exchanges like Binance and EOB or something like that, they do not accept the new currency or new token so easily. So in that case, IDO platforms, that's why are more popular, because more and more people are coming into this industry after the COVID-19 lockdown incidents, because they were searching for an alternative. So they found crypto industry as an alternative. And later on, many of them started to get into the IDO platforms. And when someone is gaining good from the IDO platform, obviously he will refer to his friends or relatives. So I think so that's why more and more people joining on the IDO launchpad. And this way, I mean, this platform is helping both the side, in the sense who are the owners or the project developers of the particular project, and the trader or the person who is investing in that particular project. So it is quite good trend. I think so, because whatever is going on since last year, so IDO platforms are good in general for both the parties. I mean, the developers or launcher of the project and the end user or trader.
Thank you for that. That was a nice, thorough explanation. Would anybody like to add any points about what is a launch pad or what it's for?
Right. Sure, really. Credible Crypto this side. Good evening. So basically, Launchpad platforms are Launchpad is a platform which does the function of due diligence. It provides you and access to your counterparties. So it ensures that the project itself isn't a rug pull. Some bad apples are notorious for doing rug pulls. Anybody, because crypto is functions on the ideals of decentralization and innovation. So basically, people are incentivized to create a decentralized project, an idea which people partake or participate with their existing crypto funds. Primarily, there could be an ideological subscription also, but primarily it's for speculation purposes. So I think Launchpad becomes a mediator, you can say, which actually helps in two, three things. It helps with the price discovery of new project, as in determining how a new project should be priced. So, and it also helps ensure that the project which is raising fund will have some incentive to stay in the market for a while. It won't do a rug pull straight away. It will undertake some development because there would be some locked tokens. So it becomes a sort of an aggregator of both projects which are somehow which the market believes in, or which are basically being incentivized by the market, and speculators who can basically invest in those projects and see disproportionate returns. So I think that's what a launchpad is.
How does the IDO Launchpad differ from an IEO?
So I think it has to do with the concept of centralization versus decentralization. So in an IEO where you have a large corporate, a big exchange, a renowned exchange, which is typically registered in one of these tax havens, and they have a lot of capital. So you can basically expect a sort of unfair launch. Launchpad, on the other hand, being decentralized, being whatever is being done on the blockchain. So the basic difference between a centralized and decentralized structure is that order books, as we all know, are prone to manipulation. Order books can be cooked. They can be constructed. Suppose there's an order book on FTX, or there's an order book on Binance, or any big centralized exchange. So these centralized exchange players, they have incentive in somehow basically manipulating the order books, and they have the capability to do that because their funds, their accounts hold funds in a disproportionate quantity as compared to the market. The supply is centralized. They are holding, say, 95, 99% supply of tokens, and they are holding a disproportionate amount of USD, which they are willing to pump into that project. So somehow they can affect the price discovery mechanism of that project. But something which happens on a decentralized launchpad, an IDO, this is the basic difference between an IDO and an IEO. In the past, we have seen a lot of IEOs underperforming when the broader market was not conducive. So this was before the bull run era in 2019. A lot of people invested with hopes in Binance IEOs and other IEOs, and ended up losing it, which ended up losing 18 to 90% of value from launch. So they were inflated launches at that point in time because the broader market wasn't bullish, right? But now we see it the other way around because the broader market conditions are conducive. We are in the bull run where everything is going up, and with respect to time, valuations are constantly moving up. So I think these new projects are being heavily bid. They are being heavily supported. But again, the fact remains that these prices, again, these projects are basically held by centralized entities. Whereas an IDO, I think, is a fairer launch. Whatever happens on a pool or happens on a blockchain. Something like Ethereum, Polygon, what all you call these platforms, right? Solana. So all these launches happen on these blockchains, these layer 2 solutions, and basically the Ethereum blockchain. And so in a way, it's relatively more transparent and fair process. The distribution process of these tokens is also, you can argue, it's much fairer as compared to a launch on an exchange.
Interesting. So the difference between centralized and decentralized exchanges, there's quite a bit to it. So that's the difference between the IDO and the IEO. What are the major differences between a centralized exchange versus a decentralized exchange?
It's the difference is like the difference between, say, Windows OS or Linux, something which is open source and which has been contributed towards by thousands of developers across the world. So the difference between Telegram and WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp, as much as we hate to agree, is still under the centralized control of one person or one entity. And WhatsApp is also incentivized to share your data with the government if they want to. That can also be one of their business models. If they might not agree towards it publicly, but whom would anybody who's relatively more aware, whom would anybody trust between Telegram and WhatsApp? I'd rather choose Telegram, right?
Right.
So I'm just trying to draw an analogy of between the centralized and decentralized. I think crypto, since its initial days, is the invention of Bitcoin. Since that white paper came out, has been on the principles of decentralized, because in previous recessions, in previous market crashes, we have seen the dark side of basically currency being controlled by central banks, or everything being controlled by centralized entities. It results in a lot of collusion, it results in a lot of corruption, and it results in wealth being distributed in an unfair manner. So I think those were the basic ideals initially anybody back in the days, old crypto OG, believed in, or why anybody initially got into crypto. And I think decentralized exchanges, or dApps, what you call, even these ideas, they hold the basically same ideals of what initially crypto was based on.
Okay. And who else has some differences, maybe around user experience or the customer journey for centralized versus decentralized exchange?
In those terms, I think decentralized exchanges, they have a long way to cover. They aren't user friendly. There's no customer care. If you end up making a wrong transaction or losing your funds, it's your own responsibility. You can't go and complain to anyone, and nobody can sort of look into it or provide you some sort of customer care. There's no redressal or remittance to that. So that's one of the things. Plus, I think user experience for somebody who's not tech savvy remains relatively challenging in case of decentralized exchanges. You have to basically connect, you have to keep your seed phrase safe. You have to keep the custody of your seed phrase. You have to become your own bank. You have a greater responsibility when you're trading or dealing on decentralized exchanges as compared to centralized ones. But again, it comes with these positives that you are prone to, you could say, less of manipulation. Whatever happens is the organic behavior of the entire market as compared to one or two single entities.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, and it cannot be regulated by any particular government. It cannot be banned. Like in the case of US, FTX and Binance, their normal websites you cannot open in US, but even the US government, even the CIA, they cannot actually physically stop any decentralized exchange from functioning. Ideally, they cannot send notice to any one person or any one entity to stop a decentralized exchange. It's like trying to fight against the internet.
Right. Interesting.
And I think DEXs will catch up in a big way because I think governments, because the size of market now has become quite big. We are looking at a total 10 trillion possible valuation. It's currently close to 3 trillion. I think stock market is 60, 70 trillion. So once crypto becomes 5 to 6% size of the stock market, it grows to 10%. A lot of governments would want to step in, regulate it, and take control of things, become in charge of things. So that's where popularity and use case of these decentralized exchanges and platforms lies. And I think they will grow in adoption. They will grow in popularity. They'll see an influx of lot more users.
Well, and they've, like in blockchain style, they've started building layers on top. Like I know that there's layers provided by some companies on top of Pancake Swap to make it behave more like a centralized exchange, where they have like stop limit orders, but you have to stake
Right.
some of the native tokens. So they're figuring it out slowly but surely.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, we
Sid,
have seen like a layer. We have seen some sort of dApps based on like pancake swap, based on like quick swap. We have seen that. I've personally used that. Similar like 1 inch, even 1 inch provides limit orders. So probably something sort of like limit orders or something can be made on that. But just in between sex and dex, I would just like to say that it's one line. In centralized exchange, you don't have your keys, so it's not your funds. You have just given a custody to someone else. You have seen many examples. We have seen over the period many examples like in MTGOX, Cryptopia, many other, many small exchanges we have seen over the period have been like went away. We never know that actual what happened exactly. There will be court cases running around with your funds locked, and you have no control over your funds. But in the case of decentralized exchanges or decentralized apps we are using, we all have our funds stored in that particular wallet, and the keys it with the person. So there is a sense of responsibility, as credible crypto mentioned. But if we have keys, we know that all the funds are with us, and there is no control of anyone over that fund, and we have to keep it safe. And probably one would like who knows how to keep it safe will be able to keep it secret and keep it safely somewhere store like gold or something where they can store in their house that safe place or something. But yeah, uh, then there will be adoption of like saving it, adoption of like keeping it stored or something if their values growing over the time. Maybe initially one who invests very small amount might not be like interested in saving the keys or something, but when their like investment size increases, and they will surely understand, oh, I should keep these things very safely or something. And apart from like service experience or user experience, uh, it's a bit, a lot has to catch up, but sooner or later they will catch up, and probably decentralization part will somewhat play a bigger role than the current scenario for sure. But might be in future we will see that both are competing at almost equal level, or even decentralization is gone beyond centralization part.
okay. That was great. There is so much. So decentralized versus centralized. Any other points before we move on to our next question? Okay. So next, we kind of want to look at the journey that has gone from the ICO to the IDO. Like kind of what happened with the ICO and how did we move to IDO?
Uh, I will not be able to provide any answer on that because I was not there when ICO was running in 2017 or 18. So I think Trading Star or Credible Crypto might be able to focus on. Throw some light on this.
Sure.
So in ICO stage, basically the initial coin offering, as we like everyone knows or somewhat might not be knowing it, then ICO, IDO, IEO, or currently even IGO is happening, even INO is happening. So there are five right now keywords which you'll be keep hearing. Even STO, someone will mention, but initially there's five if you just
Can you
name it.
just tell us the full form of these abbreviations? I think these terms might be new for some of us, like IGO, INO, or STO.
Yeah, sure. So ICO, initial coin offering, the midterm is coin. INO, initially NFT offering, initial NFT offerings. So NFT is the big center part, and IDO, initial DEX offering, IEO, initial exchange offering, somewhat on like centralized exchange offerings. So and yeah, IGO is initial game offering. The tokens, like the projects are gaming projects, so they somewhat call it like initial gaming offerings, game offerings. So somewhat similar. So in these terms, like IGO, INO, and IDO, all three kind of similarity there between. But currently we have some sort of project are doing both IGO or IDO, if you say just same, and plus IEO. So some coin is initially launching like having their tokens distribution through IDO as well as through centralization part. Sometimes even Binance Launchpad, like we see, even Binance Launchpad is happening on PancakeSwap as well. So you can see right now the even Binance IDOs are happening. Whatever Binance is launching on Binance Launchpad, same token IDO is happening on PancakeSwap IFO. They have like initial farming offering, something like that sort of. So they have right now even that capability that we are like competing with almost top launchpad in the world. If you say that Binance has highest liquidity, Binance has highest trust factor, even their projects are happening same time on the IDO part. So probably we have gone over so much extent that we are capable enough. And most of the IDOs, even at launch, are happening on centralized exchange like Gate.io, MXC, and KuCoin. So many projects of mine or even others would have like listed on these exchanges as a part of initial just launch at launch time only. Apart from the decentralized exchange like PancakeSwap, QuickSwap, or any other Sushi Swap or any other exchanges on the respective blockchain on which the token is based on. So in ICO era, I will say particularly like the projects were able to raise the funds by doing nothing. If you say like just buying, even sometimes will be absence of like just even a good website, even through the landing page or something.
Some
They
did
were
it with a
able to,
Google form and a Telegram.
yeah. So there is no security at all in decentralization part. If I say right now, project owners have to do a lot in order to their get their funds raised, even in order to have like the pass through the scrutiny of the launchpad teams, or in case of decentralization part, have to pass through the like voting part. And even in the case of decentralization without voting, they are not able to get funds raised because investors have so many opportunities in part of like IDOs that if good projects are not coming in between, so they are neglecting them. So probably even due to the adoption of such process in between, that there is a fund security, there is an investors mindset has also changed over the period, and they are now like neglecting anyone who has not done fair work till they want funds raised. Probably they are neglecting even by giving less funds, or by declining completely, even if it is launching on a decentralized launchpad like Pinkcell Finance or something where no voting is required. Anyone can list their project. So even on that launchpad, I have seen many projects not getting their funds raised. Even they are raising 20 BNB, they are not able to get it. So we have like investors have changed that so much that they want to see at least some sort of like confidence, some sort of uh, that's coming as part of like over the period it has grown. In ICO era, like anyone who are good in like making projects could easily raise funds and go away easily. And for the investors perspective, returns were good, but you cannot be so sure of the projects will get launched or even hit the market. At the same time, if I say that if the team or project is trusted or seems trusted, you will not get the allocation or even not get able to get the participate in their fundraising part, because they could have been manipulated properly. Like they could say that we already oversubscribe or something. But right now, everyone has to do a transaction well before. It's not based on the Google form or something. Everyone has to participate through their MetaMask, through their wallets. And probably it's a more transparent way on the blockchain. Every transaction is keeping record. And one who are not able to, like, even their dear ones or their closer ones will not be able to get their tokens easily. So probably a better version, from completely a better version in all perspective, I will say, apart from the project owners. I will say, like, everywhere it has evolved, and everywhere we feel more secure, more transparent, and more clarity for the investors perspective. And probably a better, like, world if we see that the project owners even has to now put a work. Maybe some of the scammers will not be happy, but overall in general they will feel like, no, our work is getting respected right now. In that time we used to get fundraised, anyone would be able to get fundraised at that time, but right now we are able to get their funds raised just because of our work, and not just like the market is giving so much money. So I think I'm done with the ICO and IDO part.
So let's see. I got initial DEX offering, initial NFT offering, initial exchange offering, initial game offering, initial coin offering, and initial farm offering. And oh, I've also heard of initial liquidity offering. And you also mentioned STO. What does STO stand for?
A security token offering.
Security token offering. I could not figure out the TO. Token offering. Thank you. Okay, yeah, that was quite the journey from ICO to IDO. Anybody have anything they wanted to add to that, or was that comprehensive enough?
So what does STO like work for? How is that work? How they provide better for this crypto world?
How does security token offering work? What's that all about?
So I have not participated in any STO. Maybe I don't know or something. Uh, I would not like to comment just because I have not like so much information about that. And probably security token is more different than the utility token. Whatever we see usually is a utility token in terms of IDO or IEO or anything based on their utility in their ecosystem or somewhat closer to that. And it's a kind of security. So there is a good difference, but probably I have not participated and not did a good homework or something, you can say. Sorry for that.
No, that's okay. Wikipedia defines it as a security token offering is a tokenized IPO, a type of public offering in which tokenized digital securities known as security tokens are sold in security token exchanges. The tokens can be used to trade real financial assets such as equities and fixed income, and use a blockchain virtual ledger system to store and validate the token transactions. So not quite the same thing as the rest of our list. It's a little bit different, but still uses the blockchain. All right. Okay. Oh no. So then we were looking at different aspects of Launchpads, the different roles of Launchpads for projects versus investors versus community. So who'd like to take us through the different aspects of Launchpads for the projects, investors, and community? There's 3 different use cases for 3 different distinct target audiences.
Investors can get the entry in the projects earlier, I mean, compared to when the project will be available on the centralized exchanges.
What was it? What
early entry for the investors into any project through IDEO Launchpad.
Most definitely.
Sorry.
Most definitely, the early
Okay.
entries.
Got it.
Yeah.
And as Credible Crypto already said, that it's a fairer system to launch any crypto token.
It's a fairer system to launch any other crypto token. Then that's good for everybody, right? The projects, the investors, and the community, if it's more fair.
And fair opportunity for everyone to get in.
We have different aspects of launch pads and their different roles for projects, investors, and the community. What else can we add to that?
For each counterparty or each stakeholders, I think the IDO is has somewhat given a good mechanism in general, if you say, and probably a fair distribution in terms of the tokens distribution among the holders, and probably a good distribution kind of for the both perspective, the one who were not easily could get their tokens in the private round or in the seed round. Now the retail investors can get into the projects a bit early before launching, so somewhat more distorted towards distribution for the if I see that from the project perspective, probably more holders are coming into now before launch, so probably a good reach to more wider community or wider more reach to the more community. They can hear about the project or something, so they know their hype is going to be good, and more people are knowing about it. So even at the listing, there will be more community who were interested in trading those tokens and knows about that project. So probably a much better I will see reach in the terms of the community these IDO launchpads have given to the project part. And for the IDO investors part, probably a fair distribution among the all retail investors. I
Nice.
think,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was a nice explanation for WIFM is what I like to call that. What's in it for me? So if I'm a project, how is a launchpad going to help me? If I'm an investor, how is a launchpad going to help me? Or if I'm a community member, how is a launchpad going to help me?
So for project perspectives, it's apart from the funds raised, I think that is usually very less percentage of the token sell. So that doesn't really matter for very good projects. They can get their funds raised through private round or through seed round. They have done it, so they could increase their private round and probably get sold. But it's more than uh, just the fundraising for the project side. I personally feel like the projects want good fairer distribution in terms of the holders, more number of holders, and fair distribution of tokens. These are the factors that attract projects to get their token launched, and probably a good perception in the mind of the all the users, all the community that this token is fairly launched. That could be one of the major criteria or something for the projects. Oh, I should do now IDO to just in order to get more community, more reach to the among the community, and probably spread the words that what we are doing and across crypto world in general. So for the project perspective, it's more about reach, fairer distribution, uh, rather than the funds raised. Because if projects is getting their funds in seed round or private round, uh, just increasing the amount there doesn't matter for the project. So fundraising is not initially the price. Even the price could increase, but doesn't matter much for the project part. It's more about the reach and the fairer distribution about of tokens that matters for the project. From user's perspective, I will say that as we were discussing earlier, that it's more about the opportunity to get into early into those projects that everyone could not get be a part of their private round or the seed round investors. So probably before listing and before getting 10x or 20x and before hitting the market, they have a fair opportunity to get hype project even at lower prices. So that's a fair opportunity for the investors. And yeah.
Nice. So for a project, it's not so much that's not really about fundraising. It's more about the community and for building their brand for outreach, huh? And the fundraising actually happens more privately, and the Launchpad is more for marketing and community building. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. And who else has any other aspects for the Launchpad that they'd like to add for either the project side, investor side, or community side? Nothing else? Now, let's move on to what makes...
Just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I want to add something on the aspect side that
Yes.
IDEO platforms are also helping to build a great community for the crypto space. Like there are many social media platforms available for any particular idea, like Medium. It could be a Twitter, or the most famous one is Telegram channel. So what happens that whenever people join that particular idea platform, they also join or follow their social media. And what happens in Telegram, particularly, Telegram groups, that people will interact with each other, they help each other, and many times they become a good friend from there, and help each other to grow and prosper in this particular industry. So I think building a great community through IDEO platform is a great part or great point of that of this particular space.
Thank you for adding that. Okay. Anyone else want to add anything for the different aspects of the Launchpad, whether for the project standpoint, investor standpoint, community standpoint, or just crypto overall? Audience, if you have any questions, please make sure to write them in the comment box. We will definitely be sure to answer any questions or concerns that you have about IDEO Launchpads. What are traits of a good Launchpad, and what are traits of a bad Launchpad? What do people have to look after? So red light, green light.
In my personal opinion, there is nothing like a bad launchpad or a good launchpad. Like there could be multiple ways I can see it. Probably some would like to consider good launchpad if their projects are doing very good. Some would like consider based on the amount of tokens they are getting, basically based on the allocation they are getting from that particular launchpad. Maybe someone would on the basis of that would be commenting like whether it is good launchpad or a bad launchpad. And some would like to comment that there was fair method of participation. So on the basis of that we can categorize them as a bad launchpad or a good launchpad. So it will be a mix of all those things somewhat. like uh, so probably on the basis of these factors, probably one could categorize someone as a bad launchpad and someone as a good launchpad. But if we are just mixing it, probably it will be a good if one ticks everywhere, yes, 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 probably it's a best launchpad maybe, or a better launchpad than all in all aspects. So if a project is giving good allocation, if a launchpad is giving good allocation and giving allocation and of the projects who are doing good, and probably that's the that's a and probably giving participation to all of the users or giving a fair mechanism to the investors, IDO investors. So probably a project, a launchpad, which ticks the mark of giving good allocation to their holders or stakers or whatever the participation method, and the projects which are getting funds raised on that particular launchpad is hitting good exchange, like good, doing good in market performance, and fair method of participation on that particular launchpad. So if a project is tick marking all those boxes, probably we could categorize as a better launchpad. But as I said, like these can be the category in which these can be the key factors through which one can categorize them as a bad launchpad or a good launchpad. So in just my perspective, I personally prefer like even launchpad which gives good launch, which gives good amount of allocation, uh, doing a fair, like not very good exchange but maybe few exchange, so that money which I keep investing gets rotated from one IDO to other IDO, and somewhat at launch probably getting my seed out so that I can continue the rotation a little longer, rather than just getting a very small allocation and projects doing even 20x or 30x. Because in that case, if I say, there will be wasting period in general across the whatever projects which we are seeing currently being launched have wasting, so that they can do good exchange over the at launch. So probably not everyone who will see that we are getting $20 allocation and hitting 50x. We are not getting $1,000 exactly at the launch. So it's probably vested into multiple months. So I prefer like getting more allocation at IDO and doing bit more research and doing few X, like even 4 5x is fine for me if I'm getting $200 allocation. So that's $1,000 versus $20 allocation versus hitting 20x or 40x. Even that is like less than what I will get from those returns in terms of returns, I will say. Also, we will have a larger number of projects which with a good amount of tokens. If anyone hits good bigger in numbers, it will be amazing. But yeah, these are the two factors. And the third, I would like to say, like, what's the fair method of participation? Are they giving guaranteed allocation? Are they giving mix of allocation? Are they giving allocation based on the like whitelisting or any other method? So that I think we have discussed in the first 2 or 3 sessions initially, that what could be the best method to uh, distribute the tokens via which mechanism. There are pros and cons of each method. Guaranteed allocation have like pros that everyone would have guaranteed allocation somewhat, but very little allocation if the launchpad tokens are highly like valued. I will not say overvalued or something, but that comes at the cost of the lower allocation. In the first come first serve model, not everyone would be able to hit and get the tokens. That's kind of not, I will say, not a good method for all those who cannot hit it. And in whitelisting happens, I think the lottery or something similar. Not everyone has a opportunity, but probably who gets lucky or something will get the allocation. So probably on the basis of that, one could categorize it over well. But if one hits all the all the on the basis of these like IDO allocations, projects hitting good exchange from the launch, and a fair method of participation. If a launchpad hits all those tick all those boxes, probably everyone would call it a good launchpad.
Okay. Does anybody have anything they would like to add for either good launchpad or a way to identify a shady launchpad that you might want to stay away from? No, nothing. Okay. What is a good allocation? How much is a good allocation? I hear that a lot. But what would define a good allocation?
Uh, Usually it depends on the project what they are giving allocation to the particular launchpad. But if launchpad is following guaranteed allocation model, it has to be divided among all the holders. So who are like above the minimum threshold of the tire system. So if suppose a project is a launchpad token is valued over $200 million and the project allocation is only 100K. So you can imagine $200 million is uh, like the people who are holding those tokens are basically over keeping funds of $200 million, and they are trying to get allocation of 100K in compare to the project, in compare to the launchpad who have also given 100K allocation, and the launchpad is valued at $220 million. So you can just imagine the guaranteed allocation part. You will have 10x more allocation than the project than the launchpad token who has valued over $200 million. Just simply comparing among the project valuation, one can imagine the differences between the guaranteed allocation, what it will be. So I hope I'm clear, else I can repeat it.
It's as clear as this kind of stuff can be. So really do your own research. You really have to dig into the details to find out where the best deal is for what project, huh?
Yes. Also, one need to consider like there will be some restriction on unstaking or holding of that particular launchpad token. So that will be different across all the launchpad. So one need to definitely do research on that part. Also, some will have a staking period of 30 days. Some will have a staking period of 7 days. Some will have no restrictions. Some will have penalty of like withdrawing. So definitely one should keep aware of that, and also should notice the price action of that particular launchpad token uh, before IDO and after IDO, so that one would uh, do a basically a good trade.
Okay, so now you're talking about the lockup periods for the token. So what if I have two different projects that are going to be holding IDOs on the same platform within a week, but I have to lock my tokens for 30 days? Do I maybe have to have double the amount, or I can't participate in both? Oh
No, you
no.
need to just stake one single time.
You just
That
have to
will be,
stake one time,
yeah.
and then you can participate in all the IDOs. You don't have to stake per project.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same on all IDOs or on all launchpads?
Uh, in most of them, if not all,
Most of
in
them.
the most of them. Yeah.
Okay. See, that part I did not know. I thought you had to stake per project. Okay. What else can we ask about launchpads? So, how do launchpads reach their customers? Like, how do they get their communities? Does anybody know who the first launchpad was?
I think some IEO, if we say that some of the exchange offerings, so probably that would be a launchpad uh, of particular centralized exchange, but not aware of, because how the transition happened and which was the first and who will claim it as a first. I was the first one, but definitely doesn't matter in current scenario. Uh, they might have gone disappeared or something, or might not have valued very well, so they
Right.
are gone.
Yeah, the first one could have blown it. That's for sure. Especially crypto, huh? And what's the most number of IDOs you've ever done in a day?
In a day, I think
Yeah, sure.
I have participated in four or five ideas in a day, single day.
How stressful was that?
Yes, sometimes it happens like you have two ideas and on different launch pads, on even different chain with the same wallet you have to participate. So basically you are using multiple devices. So sometimes it can happen as well.
Oh my God, I just totally had a vision of my laptop sitting next to my desktop with my phone so I could do the Google 2FA. Got nervous just thinking about it. So you did 4 or 5. Who else has a who else has a record? Most IDOs in a day. Nobody else even wants to speak. They're like, no, nobody else has done 5. Favorite feature of a Launchpad that you wish everybody had? Anybody, any Launchpad have something really nice that you just wish everybody had?
Pre-approval of funds.
Oh, how does that work?
I mean, Safe Launch is providing facility like you can pre-approve a BUSD before the sale.
Oh, so you know exactly how much you're spending before it happens?
No, you will not be able to get the actual allocation, but at least you don't have to put your time. I mean, it will be able to save your time while approving the BUSD for that particular sale. And after approving, you will make a commitment or swap or anything, whatever the function available. So one step will got completed earlier only, that you don't have to go for the approval of the BUSD.
Okay, nice.
So it just basically saves our some extra seconds, extra few seconds that are so important at that particular point of time. So it should be a feature that every Launchpad would have. So it would be great for all the users.
So will DPAD be putting that feature in?
Yeah, they have to. That would be great. Could be great.
CEO just said, fire the host. Just kidding. Anybody else have a must-have feature that they think every Launchpad should have?
Probably like what Vipul and Crypto Wallet said, that one would have like option of pre-approving if one is getting fund raised apart from the like blockchain token, I mean say in the layered token. Probably on Polygon you don't need to like pre-approve Matic. On Binance Smart Chain you don't need to pre-approve BNB. On Ethereum you don't need to approve Ethereum. So if a project is getting fundraised through Ethereum, there's no need to approval. So if a project or if a launchpad is using other tokens as a base token to get their funds raised, so probably one need to approve. And like it's a normal procedure that you need to first hit like approval of that token, that you are giving permission to use the fund by the launchpad contract to use that token on behalf, like you are giving permission to use that token. So you have to actually give approval of that particular token to be used in the launchpad time. So you need to pre-approve it, and then you need to again swap or just hit the buy button, max button, and then you have to actually spend the token. So you have a basically 2-3 steps in between. Some are even have captcha right now. Polkabit is using captcha, so you need to have like pre-approval of if one is get like they usually do their fundraising Matic or BNB or in Ethereum, so don't need to pre-approve or something, but they need to like solve our captcha. So sometimes these can be a hurdle for some, and at the like IDO time they are pretty much like too much crowd there, so one would not be able to do. Some will be lagging, even some will not have good system, so that will be lagging. So probably not a fairer way in terms of if we say that we are doing fundraising through first come first serve model, but in a guaranteed model it doesn't matter that one should have. So definitely some sort of combination of guaranteed allocation versus first come first serve model will be a good fit. I would like to have everyone introduced into the system, so that even good amount of token holders should get at least some tokens, some allocations, rather than all into the first come first serve model, so that at least not will thinks that, oh, I am not getting tokens, let's sell it off or something. So that will be the crazy token like volatility in general.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like if I had to do a CAPTCHA while I was pressed for time, I would fail 100% of the time, especially if it was on my phone. Like I had one earlier that had like 12 different boxes on my phone, and I could not find all the crosswalks. Could not do it. And if my little allocation that I'd staked a bunch of coins for got messed up because of a CAPTCHA, I'd be pretty upset. So I can see why pre-approval is important. Wow. Are there any features that Launchpads have that you think are a waste? You think they're not necessary and they just cause issues? Pretty streamlined process, isn't it?
I think all have their own perspective, so not commenting on it, because maybe if I have not interest into that particular feature, someone other investor would like that feature. So probably I am not liking it, but someone will have that use. So probably good way for, like, if a launchpad is has to focus on maximum investors, so probably I have not seen many unused features among like IDEO launchpads probably right now, but maybe some missing features, if we say, that it's missing in most of the launchpads. If I say, sometimes even bots are hitting like faster, some are getting their token allocation through contract, so that is unfairer to the common people who don't know how to like get allocation through smart contracts. So probably that should be avoided. So yeah.
One of the most common questions investors ask when a new sale is coming out is how the project is going to protect against bots. Do Launchpads do much to protect against bots, or is it really left up to the project itself?
In frankly speaking, not many users, even I think maybe a very small percentage of users ask this question, because many of them didn't aware about that this could happen also. They just judge the project on the basis of their performance, but if the project didn't perform well or dump heavily, so they just thought that the project is just dead. So I really don't think that most of the users ask this question, because I have never heard any user in the Telegram group or the Discord
Oh,
group.
that's where I got it from. Sorry. was modding a Telegram chat, and that question came up a lot before the sale.
Oh, so you are in a good Telegram group or something like that? Because
yes, I manage a project group with 10,000 users in it, and I managed it from it having 14 people to 10,000. And that question in May was a hot item. Was what are you doing to keep bots away, and what are you doing to keep VCs from dumping? There was two hot questions that they asked us a lot. But if it's not happening on a large scale, maybe we had some special users.
So, but definitely, but you do understand that when the users are asking this means heavy dumping right now at the whole market level. So that's why they are asking. Nobody asking maybe right now this question, because the market is performing so well.
Right. And that was the other thing I wanted to make sure to tell you when it was happening, because this was in late May was a dump period. People were freaking out, so that makes sense that it was time period related and not necessarily something that's always there. Okay, super. Well, that wraps up another episode of Just a Little Late in Crypto, today's discussion of crypto basics. Thank you so much, and please tune in again tomorrow. Have a good evening.